Today, we're going to talk about choosing the right chart for your data. The idea behind this is that one of the key aspects of using Slingshot is data, and it's really all about data. How can you drive a data-driven culture? How can you drive better decision-making? How can you increase revenue? How can you increase the productivity of all of your meetings with your coworkers, for example, a sales meeting or a marketing meeting? It's all about data, and understanding how to use data visualization to do that is really important. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So with me again is Casey McGuigan. She is the product owner for Slingshot. She's been with the product since the very beginning and is an expert on the whole data side. She was also, or still is, the product manager and product owner for Reveal, which is our embedded analytics product, which will help you drive better decision-making within your own applications. And my name is Jason Barris. I'm our Senior VP of Developer Tools at Infragistics. So today we are going to just talk about data and how data can help when we are trying to make decisions and create new dashboards and things like that. Keep in mind that the recording will be available after the webinar. Please ask questions in the Q&A and chat window, and we have experts online to help answer those immediately. So why do we need data visualizations? I did a presentation a couple years ago. Actually, it was right before COVID in Germany, and it was all about the importance of data visualization and the psychological impact of data visualization when making decisions versus trying to use mounds of tabular data. And what ends up happening is people understand they need charts, but they don't understand why. They don't understand necessarily how the brain works and why visualizations and dashboards are so much more effective than something like an Excel file or a table of data. So here's three quick stats that will help you understand the importance of this. So 65% of people are visual learners. This isn't surprising. The number's probably higher every day because we're further removed from having to worry about much. The computer does it for us. The TV does it for us. Our phones do it for us. So we're constantly associating images with data, and we can much easier remember images than we can a bunch of data. So let's say you have, how tall is someone in your class or in your group, and the numbers are, 4 foot to 4'5". But if you have a chart that says green is the highest one, you can easily remember that Bob is green and he's the tallest one in the group, versus trying to remember, was Bob 5'6" or 4'6"? I don't remember. So visual learning helps us do that. And we can process images 60,000 times faster than text. So instantly you have the ability to know what that image means. Think about a bathroom door. You've got the male and a female bathroom, and you see a picture, you immediately know which bathroom door to go in. And when you go to a restaurant or someplace where they try to get clever with the images, like, maybe a dress or a suit or something different. I see this a lot at, like I go to a Mexican restaurant and I'm like, man, I've got to think for a second before I open the door, because you want to make sure it's correct. But that's visual learning. Like, you instantly associate where to go with that. And that's why it's different when drivers in the US go to Europe and drive, because the signs are shaped differently, and different colors mean different things. So we're used to this visual representation in the US of certain ways of responding to rules versus what's available in Europe. Then, of course, it only takes 13 milliseconds to recognize an image. So we instantly know what that means. If you think about Windows, and you got the trash can in Windows, that trash can has been there for forever, the recycle bin. So everyone knows, all the way from Windows 3.1 all the way to Windows 11, what that means. That's where we put our garbage. They added the little recycle thing probably in Windows 8, I guess. I don't know. But instantly we know what that image actually represents. And so charts take this rich data, often KPIs, and they make it consumable. So I have data that's in a table, and how can I make that instantly recognizable by the individual reading my screen or reading my report? Multiple charts make up dashboards, and this really does drive that decision making. So it's not just one data visualization per se that's going to help you or inform the discussion. It could be an entire dashboard with multiple visualizations. And then, of course, charts can tell a story in an explanatory or an exploratory way. So these are two different approaches for when you're building out your data visualization. Explanatory is just straight up, here's the sales data. Exploratory is when you have a bunch of different visualizations that you're trying to correlate some outcome with or tell a story with. So there's a lot behind this visual storytelling with exploratory data visualizations. With Slingshot, you can do any type of data representation in a visual manner, and you can do either explanatory or exploratory types of dashboards. So when we think about the different categories, and I think, Casey, if I'm correct, we actually have a white paper on the website, maybe it's on Reveal, that goes into more detail on each one of these types of charts and the scenarios which you may be using them. So choosing the right chart gets down to what's the key point you want to communicate with your chart. Are you trying to compare variables? Are you looking at data distribution? Are you looking at analyzing trends? So there are 7 different categories. You can compare data. You can look at data in a part to whole. You can look at data distribution. You can look at data trend analysis, data relationships, KPIs and gauges, or even geospatial data to tell your data story. And you can see by the screenshots that I have next to each category, the type of visualization that you might choose. Now, the nice thing, and you'll see this in the demo today, is that the way that Slingshot works is it's going to have a chart suggesting for the type of data that you want to use. So if you try to pick a chart and it matches the data, it's going to display. If you pick a chart and it doesn't match the data, then you might have to do a little bit of configuration or get it to work. But we're trying to help you do this as much as possible. And it's through simple pickers. One click here, one click there, sort of like you do in Excel. You're exploring the best way to actually represent that data in the visualization that you're trying to design or complete, and based on the type of story that you want to tell about that data. So with that, let's jump into a demo, and Casey is going to take over the screen, and we're going to see how you can achieve this with Slingshot. So take it away, Casey.
All right. Can you see?
Yeah, it looks great.
Awesome. All right. I am going to go through some of our dashboarding visualizations within Slingshot and kind of show you some additional cooler things that you can do, but with a heavy focus on our different chart types and stuff like that. So I am going to pop down to our My Analytics tab here, where for our enterprise customers, you have access to a data catalog, which makes data-driven decisions within your organization so much easier when everybody has access to a catalog of data and data sources. You can see certification levels on dashboards, so you know what dashboards are highly trusted versus which aren't. And then this is where you can also create your own personal dashboards. So I'm going to come here and go to the Add Dashboard button. And from here, you can see the data sources that I've used before in the past. So I've used Salesforce, Google Analytics, Google Search Console. And then behind the Add Data Source button, we have a wide variety of additional sources that you can connect right to. So you have your social media down here, your Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. We have Twitter coming very soon. Connectors like Google Ads, HubSpot, Marketo. We support a REST API and a ton of databases as well. For the purpose of this demo, I'm actually going to use the sample data that everybody has when you log into Slingshot. It's basically an Excel file that lives out on the web that you have access to start playing and getting a feel for our dashboards. So you can see the different sheets that I have named within my Excel file here. I'm just going to pick marketing for the purpose of this. And I'm brought into the visualization editor. One of the points that Jason touched upon is kind of knowing exactly what story you want to tell with your data. If you want to show something over time, you kind of are narrowing down the charts that you are going to use. So I do want to look at overtime, spend, and budget. So for that, from the chart types here, I'm going to come and pick combo chart. And I'm going to add a label for months. And then I want to see spend versus budget like this. I'm going to change my chart title to follow best practices. And just like that, I have a visualization right here on the right-hand side. So I'm happy with it. I'm going to click the little check up here. And now I can continue to add different chart types from different sources. So if I have my spend and budget within maybe Google Ads, and now I want to see how that spend is translating into sessions, into Google Analytics, I'm able to bring all of these different sources into one dashboard. So you can tell a full story from start to end for your customer journeys. For this, I am just going to use the same file here. And I'll just stick with marketing again. And for this, I'm going to create a donut chart. So for label, I want to use my territory, and I want to see a breakdown of the traffic that is coming from each territory. And then I want to be able to drill into campaign as well. So with the quick drag and drop here, I'm able to create hierarchy now within this donut chart, where I can drill into a specific territory and see the campaign traffic. And then I can drill back up. So I'll just do a title here. And then I'll hit the check up here. And now I actually want to create a filter that will drive the date ranges on these charts. So I'm going to come up to add a filter, and I'm going to click date filter. I'm going to connect both of these to the date range, and I'm going to set the date range to be a trailing 12 months. And if I had two different dates within my data source, it would just prompt me to select which one, but it automatically connected them because there's only one date field to choose from to map to the filter. And then I'll hit create. And you can see that now my data started changing. So when I am now interacting with this filter, if I want to see quarter to date, you can see how the date ranges up here change the different charts. One thing that I notice is that my formatting for my spend is a little off. So I'm going to come back here and to edit this visual, and then within each different field settings, you have the ability to change the aggregation if you wanted to see average. From here, I can change the currency. I'll leave that 0. And you can see how my currency is updated here, and I'll do the same for budget. So it's always follow best practices. You want to make sure that you're formatting your data properly. And then I'll just hit the check again. And then let's create one more. So we'll come up here. I'll just stick with the same sheets, and let's do we'll stick with a pivot grid. So from here, for each campaign, from a high level, I want to see spend, our click-through rates, average costs per click, and then conversions. So I'll just quickly come in here and format my data. Percent. I want to see 2 decimals for my percent. My click-through rate is not an actual percent. So let's just remove that one. Average cost per click will change to currency and average, and conversions. We will use the separator so it looks clean. And we'll do campaign performance, and I will connect it up to the filter that I'm using, and then click the check. And as I continue to add more and more different visualizations here, they will continue to add to be the same size, but you have full control over the size of these and the arrangement. So I'll just maybe make this like this, and update this so it takes up now the full width. I think I just froze. You can still hear me, Jason?
Yep, I can.
Oh.
I was on mute, sorry.
All right. So I'm going to save this now. We'll just do new sample dashboard. And I'll click save. So now from here, a lot of the huge benefits that you get with Slingshot is not just having a BI tool. So we have a BI engine inside Slingshot, but your insights don't just stop at visualizing them. You need to be able to have collaborative conversations with your teammates, people that you work on projects with, and you need to then be able to act on those insights that you see. So right from this dashboard that I have, I can come up here to the 3 little dots for the overflow menu, and I can start a chat. So I want to start a chat with somebody new. We'll do the product owner group. And you can see that now I'm back outside of my dashboard. I have the dashboard attached to the chat I just started. And I want to mention Lee here and say, check out the decline in spend for Q2. Now, everybody on this chat gets a notification. Lee gets a notification that he was mentioned. He now has access right into the live dashboard that was created that he can go into. And now from here, there's collaborative conversation going on. And you can also start these discussions with people inside any of your workspaces and projects as well inside of Slingshot. So just like that, Lee is on it. From now this conversation, I'm going to actually create a task. So I'm going from insight to conversation right into action. I'm going to put this actually in our PPC project, and I want the task to be update budgets for Q3. I'll assign Lee right to this. I'll give him a date for mid-July and then click create. So now from within that task I created, if I go to the PPC project in my tasks for increased budgets, Lee now, not this one, update budgets. Lee now has a direct link right to the conversation that was kicked off and started from the dashboard into conversation into the tasks that were created. So Slingshot really brings together all of the assets that you need to run high performing teams. And that's done through what we refer to as these productivity flows, where you can go from insights to conversation, right to action in a matter of clicks, as you saw here. And I think that was all I wanted to demo, Jason.
Yeah, I was wondering, can you show the visualization with the Sparkline? Because I think those are really useful and it's pretty slick, some of the options that you get.
So I will actually do a little shortcut. I'm going to duplicate this and go into edit mode here. And we'll look at conversions in a Sparkline. So I'll come down to Sparkline. It's telling me that I definitely need a date. So I'll add a date here. And I want to see by campaign. So you can see within the settings, and you have settings for each chart type, that you can customize different aspects of your visualization. So if I wanted to see this as an area chart, if I was looking at something like bounce rates on websites, I would put that increasing be visualized as red versus green. So there's a ton of different customizations that you can do within the settings for each different chart type as well.
Cool. Can you also show data blending? If you have something, because Fabian's asking if you can write a custom SQL query linking two tables and show them in a visualization. And the answer is yes, you can do that a number of ways. You're using the SDK, I believe, Fabian. So you can do that in the SDK, or you can just do in the app, you can just do data blending.
Yeah, so right within the visualization editor, you have the behind the plus fields from another source. I don't know if I have something set up for the sample data, but I would come here, pick another source, and then all you have to do is merge the two sources on a common field. So from here, if I wanted, I don't know if these both have territory that I could use, I think. So territory here for territory here. And if I wanted to bring in now new seats, I'll join the data. And now you can see I have this new seat option here. I don't know if that fully worked because I don't think my data sources, there you go. So this could have been from a completely different file source, whatever.
Yeah, the idea behind this is that you've got maybe something in your own Excel file and you have something in SQL Server, or you have, you know, something in a Google BigQuery and a SQL Server, and you're joining those disparate data sources, or it could be all from SQL Server. Obviously, if you're using SQL, what I would do is just create views and do it that way, unless you're letting your users create ad hoc queries like this. Because if you have the view or you have a stored procedure, it's just going to be faster to do that on the server. Data blending like this would happen on the client side. SQL Server will do things on the server. There's an option to do server-side processing when you add a SQL data source and when you add a table, and things like Google BigQuery and a few others, Oracle, Postgres, MySQL, they all have a server-side option to do everything on the server side. Okay, so let's see if there's any more questions here that I didn't already answer in the chat. Got that one. No, got that one. Okay, cool. I think we're good. One thing while we're here, which is kind of neat, because we've got an extra minute before I wrap up. Can you just export this dashboard and show the options there really quick? because when you're working with someone outside of your organization, you can very easily share this dashboard with them and they can log into Slingshot and they can see it, but you might be doing a report or you might be doing a presentation. So something like PowerPoint, you want to bang out these images really quick and be able to use them in some other medium. That's where this export, the export actually works really well.
Yeah, and the PowerPoint specifically will export with this UI here that you can come in and select what specific visualizations you want to include on your export. You can change the chart title, add notes and descriptions, and even annotate right from here so that by the time you hit export, your presentation is ready to go. And then for Excel, we will also, you can map right to Excel visualization. So when you export out to Excel, you would just leave the include visualizations here, and we'll map to the line chart in Excel so that it makes it easy for you to manipulate your data and see it real time in their charts.
Yeah, it's really useful. I was doing a project for marketing and I needed a bunch of screenshots of all of the charts. And this was a simple way to get everything for me, put in an Excel file, pass it off to the team, and we were ready to rock and roll. So great. Thank you for that, Casey. Great demo. I really appreciate it. Let me go ahead and share my screen and we will wrap this up. Again, I appreciate everyone for joining us today. And there was a great demo. So this is it. Get started with Slingshot today. You can sign up at slingshotapp.io and just log in with your Gmail, with your Office 365 email address, or your Apple ID or your Infragistics ID, and you can start getting started today with doing data-driven decision-making in your organization. And we will see everyone at the next webinar. Have a great week. And if you're in the US, have a great 4th of July weekend. Thanks again.